Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot, or of course, welcome to the channel if you're brand new here. Thank you so much for joining me today for our pick a card reading, tapping into some higher self energy. But more specifically, we're going to ask our higher selves today, what is the key to something you need? Okay. So basically, this is your higher self handing you a key to opening a door that maybe you've been a little frustrated that's been locked lately, metaphorically speaking, maybe breaking through an obstacle of some sort, or it could also be perhaps some information that you've been searching for, maybe some just advice in general. So we'll see what pops out with each pile today. But of course, first we do have to pick our pile leader. So higher selves collectively for pile 1, 2, 3 today. Could you please connect us with the right cards for them to pick their piles with? Thank you. Definitely this one for pile 1. We'll unveil them in one moment. Pile 2. And last but not least, I'm feeling this one right here for pile 3. So for my pile 1 today, we have the Mothman. So pile 1 is the Mothman. For pile 2 here in the middle, we have the Hare, or sometimes known as a rabbit. Or I don't know, let me down in the comments below if you know. Is there a difference between a rabbit and a hare? So the Hare. And then last but not least for pile 3 over here on the right, we have the Linden tree. So we have a tree for this one. So just a quick reiteration. Pile 1 is the Mothman. Pile 2 is the Hare. And pile 3 is the Linden tree. But of course, you're always welcome to pause on this part of the reading if you need more time to decide. If you're brand new to pick a card readings, I always suggest go with your first gut instinct. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, open them again, and see what you're really drawn to. Kind of maybe even just the first card you really glance at. And it'll just feel right deep down in your gut. But whatever your method of choosing, you can drop down to the description box below or the top pinned comment beneath the reading. Find the timestamp for your pile there, and I'll see you in our little chat about a higher self message to you about a key to something you need. See you there. Hello there, my lovely pile number 1. Welcome today to your pick a card reading as a message from your higher self on a key to something that you need. As you recall, the pile leader you were drawn to was the Mothman. And for those of you not familiar, this is a cryptid from the eastern part of the United States, more specifically around the West Virginia area. And the key word for the Mothman is discernment in this particular deck, because the Mothman was seen as a being that was a creature of foreboding, of warning, that would happen before a disaster occurred, right? So people would see the Mothman, they're like, oh no, a disaster is going to happen. So specifically, though, the discernment message with this card is related to making sure that the information that you're getting is accurate, okay? Especially in our modern world today, right, pile 1, where, we have so much information coming from so many different sources, and we never really know who's telling the truth, who's trying to spin something, whether it be in the media or on social media or, even just people we know in everyday life. So I'm getting the sense from your higher self here that part of your message today is about your discernment in some kind of information or advice that you're getting from someone else or from source that you're not sure is right. And I think, based on my intuition and this card that you were drawn to for your pile leader, that you're trying to go forward with a decision, or you're trying to figure out, can I trust this? Is this really the warning or the information or the advice that I need to heed? Okay, so we're going to draw your other oracle cards next. We have, let's do the Soul Mirror Oracle to begin. So higher self of pile 1, could you please draw us to the right cards that will help us discern, using the keyword, right? Oopsie, sorry, I'm having issues with my deck back here. This deck is very long, and it's hard for me to shuffle because my hands are really small. But yes, higher self, can you please guide us to the right oracle card? What else? The key to something that they need with this message. Thank you. There we go. We have beautiful alignment. Dishonest versus truthful. So, pile 1, I think the thing you're trying to figure out, you're trying to discern, is whether or not someone is telling the truth or if they're lying. or it's like, it might not be necessarily like lying based on like negative intentions. It could be that someone is just telling you something that they think is true, but it's actually not, but they have good intentions. Or it could be like you usually think of when someone's lying, like bad intentions. We'll try to figure that out more with the other cards, but I think that's what's going on that your higher self really wants to give you the key to. They want you to help you figure that out. Like, what's really going on here? Is someone telling the truth? Are they just trying to pull my leg? Is just yanking my chain? Things like that. Let's grab the Lantern Oracle next here. So, alignment. You might even be wondering if they're really aligning with you as a person as well. You're like, are they telling me the right thing? Could be, too, that maybe they're just trying to give you advice and you're not sure if the advice is good advice. Radical curiosity, number 2. Seeing as if for the first time every time. Yeah, it's like exploring things, trying to figure out information. Radical curiosity. And there's almost a sense of naivety here, too, because there's a little bit of like an inner child message here with it being such a youthful character on the cards. So I almost wonder if you're like, man, if I believe them, will I be naive? Like, are they just trying to take advantage of me and they're going to get like a kick out of lying to me? Things like that. Or, you know, maybe the other person, if they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart, like they're kind of being naive and they're not. It's like they're trying to give you advice, information. They're trying to help you, right, pile 1. But it's possible that maybe they're just not. Well, that was a poor shuffle. We'll try that again. Like, possible that they're just not giving you the right advice just out of naivety, right? So, let's grab these cards. Okay, thank you. So we've got 4 of them. And I decided to use a lot of my Gravity Falls decks today. If you're not sure what Gravity Falls is, just know that we'll have lots of kind of a cartoony theme here with some of our decks. So we have Waddles, Loyal, Accessorizable, Hungry. So this is a loyal pet, so we think of someone who's loyal to us, right? Questions of loyalty, right? Then we have Greasy's Diner, Retro Sustenance Repurposed. Interesting. We'll see what else pops up. So that's a diner. And then we have Wendy, Strong, Sharp Wit, Resourceful. Yeah, I get the feeling... and then we have the Amber Cave, Preserve Pass, Dangerous but Beautiful. So I think pile 1, it's like information that they're trying to give you or advice they're trying to give you based on like something that worked for them in the past. And there's someone who, like, they're usually someone who gives good advice, I think, like, especially because of the Windy card here, we think of someone who's like strong and resourceful and they've got a sharp wit. Like, they're smart and they're intelligent. And they're just trying to help you out. I get more of a good intention off of this because of the diner card here, like sustenance. Like, they're trying to help sustain you. They're trying to be loyal to you too, like the Waddles card says, like a loyal best friend. So I don't get bad intentions off of this from your higher self. Like, so if you're wondering, like, is this person just trying to yank my chain, like, just to kind of get a joke out of it? I'm not seeing that, pile 1. I'm seeing more. They have good intentions, but... there's something about the way that it worked for them that might not necessarily work for you, okay? Yeah, even repurpose, too, is a key. Like, they're trying to repurpose advice for you or information for you, and you're like, I don't know, like, I'm not sure that's going to work for me the same way that it worked for you. And so, yeah, tying it back to your pile leader, once again, we have that discernment. You're trying to figure out, you know, is this really good for me? Like, is this really... you know, and so I think you're exploring a lot of your options here, especially with radical curiosity. Like, maybe I should forge my new path on my own and do it separately away from the way that this person did it, even though technically what they're telling me worked for them. So I see good intentions, pile 1. I'll just reiterate that. I don't think this person is trying to harm you. I just think it's like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Like, I think deep down you know that maybe this isn't the best path for you, or at least you're kind of leaning that way right now. Or it's like not the best information or advice, but there's also an aspect too probably of you not wanting to offend this person, especially if like this is a really good friend or like a family member, right? Pile 1, where, you know, they give you advice, they want to help you, and it's like if you reject it, like it might almost feel like you're rejecting them, and like it's like I don't want to hurt their feelings, but at the same time... you know what's best for you, and it's like you have to follow your own compass, your own North Star, pile 1. And so it's like, you might also be wondering, like, the key that your higher self is trying to give you might also be like, how do I navigate this situation in, like, if you've already decided to reject this information or advice, pile 1, like, you might be wondering, how do I navigate this situation away from making sure I don't offend somebody, like the person trying to give me this advice or this opportunity, things like that. Yeah, so I think they're aligned with you. They're trying to help you. They just don't always know what's best. I'm getting a little bit of a sense of this person, and I say this in a good way, right? I mean this like with good intentions, pile 1, but they might be a little bit of a know-it-all type person, like, that they've had like maybe a lot of success with their own life, and so they think like everything that they did like applies to every single person, like this is the exact recipe and formula for success or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And that's just not the way the world works, right, pile 1? Like, we don't all succeed in the same exact way. What might work for one person might completely blow up in someone else's face. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing. That, or it's like some of you, they might have even tried to warn you, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. It's like something that you really, really want to do, or like you feel is like this is the right decision to do. And it's just kind of that know-it-all vibe of like they have good intentions out of it, right, pile 1, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're always right. So let's grab your tarot cards on the situation. Pile 1 here. Higher self, could you 5 cards, the trajectory, what's going on here? Let's glean some more details. Okay, so once again, using Gravity Falls deck, we have the Ace of Wands, okay? A new opportunity when it comes to passion, a new spark. All right, something being given to you. Yeah, it's like they're trying to hand you this wand, this torch. I almost wonder if they're trying to help, like they want you to carry on their work in some way. I don't know if this is like a mentor or like a boss or some sort at your job. That's possible, or like a family member that's older. We have that is the 6 of Wands reversed. Okay, lack of victory. Lack of victory, and you're like, yeah, I'm not so sure that's going to work for me. Yeah, because I think you already know deep down, pile 1. You're like, I don't know. So some of you might be, this is more like you want advice on, or at least your higher self is trying to offer advice on how the frick do you navigate this, because you don't want to offend this person and be like, hey, your advice sucks, but because it doesn't suck. It probably worked for them, right? But it might just kind of suck for you more specifically. We have the heart of the matter is the 6 of Cups. Lots of 6s. Okay, if you're looking for synchronicity with the 6 numbers popping up. We have the 6 of Cups reversed as the heart of the matter card, as I call it. And this card is all about nostalgia and family. Like, this is a pair of twin brothers right here. Like the glory of the past, however, being reversed, it's like a negative thing. So I almost wonder if this is like a sibling or a family member that you're having a little bit of like a negative interaction with here. This might be like, that's the person who's trying to give you the advice, or being like, oh, please walk in my footsteps. I know everything. I know this is going to work out perfectly if you just do it this way. Yeah. And then we have, or it could also be a friend from a long time ago, like a childhood friend. Something from childhood that tends to be family most of the time with the 6 of Cups. And then we have the Stand, which is the High Priestess in most decks. This is your intuition. This is your gut feeling deep down, right? Pile 1, you're like, I kind of know deep down. I'm not so sure that that's the best thing to do. And then let's see the outcome card here. The last is the Tower. Yeah. Okay, so pile 1, I'm just going to tell you right now, on the path that you're on, okay, you already know, because of the High Priestess being next to it, you already know deep down this is not going to work for you. So if you're doubting yourself because you think, well, this person is just so intelligent and they did it before me and like they just know everything, right? Or maybe they're kind of like pushing a know-it-all vibe onto you, right? You are correct that it will end badly, because we have the Tower. The Tower is a disaster of some sort, or a massive upheaval or change, okay? You know deep down, because of the High Priestess being your gut instinct, that leads to disaster. We literally have like 2 figures falling off of a water tower, right? Okay, so you are correct. So do not doubt pile 1. Do not doubt your own intuition with this. They're coming from a good place. I can tell you that, pile 1, because we have the Ace of Wands at the very beginning as the inciting incident card, as I like to call it with my own spread. And that tells me it's like they're trying to offer you an opportunity. They're trying to help spark something in you. They're trying to be like, here's the torch, carry it on, especially if this is like maybe a family member trying to pass a torch on to you. It's like a generational thing. Or, like I said, it could also possibly be like a friend from childhood as well that's like, here's this advice. It's going to get you started. It's going to get that fire going, especially with the wands being the suit of fire in tarot. And I almost wonder if maybe you already kind of tried it a little bit, and that's why you already know, like, that's a bad idea, because we have the Six of Wands reversed right here, right after that inciting incident, like I said, which is a lack of victory. I almost wonder if they don't even have it all that much together themselves, pile one, as much as they try to come off. Because that Six of Wands reverse kind of makes me think, like, they're not as victorious or good at the thing that they're trying to impress advice upon you with as they think they are, like they try to come off as. Kind of is what it seems like to me. But yeah, and then there's that deep connection, though, as the heart of the matter of, like, I don't want to, especially if it's a family member or, like, a childhood friend, or so you're like, I don't want to offend them. I don't want to be like, hey, your advice just doesn't kind of work for me. I'm so sorry, but, like, because, like, especially if they're kind of a know-it-all type person, you know, as much as you love them, right? Those types of people tend not to take it very well when you reject their advice, because, like, they always think that they're right, okay? So I get you where you're coming from, pile one. You're probably like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. How do I navigate this? We'll pull some cards on that as well to get some advice from your higher self. Like, how do you navigate this? But I'll just reiterate, you are correct with your gut intuition that it's going to lead to disaster, okay? So do not doubt yourself. Your higher self is saying, hey, you know this isn't a good idea, okay? Don't take the advice. Okay. You know. That's what the High Priestess means. It means you know deep down. Especially even, too, with the Amber Cave Oracle card up here. It says beautiful, but also dangerous is one of the key words, right? And so it's like you know that there's a risk to it that you don't want to take, especially with the Tower card having popped up. Yeah. So how do you navigate this? I think that's really what the key you might be looking for, pile one. You might be like, how the heck do I tell this person and navigate this gracefully in a way of basically saying, thanks, but no thanks. Let's still be friends, or let's still have a close familial connection, because, yeah. Like, just follow your gut on this, pile one. This is kind of the key of everything here. But higher self of pile one, could you provide us maybe 3 cards explaining them? How do they navigate this going forward? What would your advice be on navigating this? Thank you. Especially if it's like they have to disappoint somebody, or like this might be a type of person that doesn't take rejection of advice very well. Let's see, a lot of cards wanting to pop out. We have number 1, the Knight of Wands. Okay, taking action with our passions. Being confident, taking action with confidence, specifically. Okay. The Knight of Wands. Yeah. So I'll just say right off the bat, we have 2 more cards to pull here, but pile 1, the Knight of Wands, is someone who is not afraid to be confident about the way that they take action. Okay. So do not feel like you have to tiptoe. Knight of Wands does not tiptoe. We have the 5 of Cups. Okay. Can be sadness, right? A time of sadness, someone focusing on the cups that are spilled, but not realizing that there's 2 cups that are still up right behind them. They're just focusing on the negative instead of the silver lining. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. I think that's the other person. So, and then last but not least, we have, this is the 5 of Swords. This is 5 of Swords reversed, avoiding a conflict. Yeah, literally. So they're telling you, your higher self is saying, this is how you avoid the conflict, right, pile 1. So what they're saying is yeah, I'll just reiterate. Do not tiptoe. Come from a place of understanding and appreciation for what they're trying to offer you, because they have good intentions, I can tell you that much. They're not trying to screw you over or give you bad advice on purpose, I think. But yeah, because, yeah, a Knight of Wands takes action with their passions. Just come across to them when you discuss it, or you maybe do like the official rejection of advice or like guidance, by saying, hey, I really appreciate what you're trying to do for me. And I know you have great intentions. And I know maybe that it worked really well for you, but I am passionate about taking it this route instead. Okay? Because that's what a Knight of Wands would do. They would say, I'm passionate about something, and that's where I take my action, is in the direction of my own passion. Okay? come across not so much about, like, saying, you know, I mean, you probably already know this, pile one, but, you know, not so much of, you know, your advice sucks, I'm going to do something else, right? Because you obviously don't want to say that, but, like, more so about, I feel more enthusiastic about taking it this direction. Make it about your passion and less about whether or not which path to take is better than the other. Okay, it's not about worse or better. It's more about, this is what I am passionate about. Okay, emphasize that. And then, yeah, we have the 5 of Cups here. The 5 of Cups is, like I said, a time of sadness, overcoming grief. I think this is more the other person in the situation, pile 1. And I want to say it's like, I won't lie, they might be a little disappointed at first, okay? But what I want to tell you and what your higher self is telling you is it's not your responsibility, as long as you word things very nicely, of course, you know, and you'll do that, I'm sure, pile 1. It's their job to manage their emotions of rejection or feeling like after you reject their advice, if you choose to do so, you know, they might whine and grump a little bit because they're just focusing on the cups that are spilled. But really just come across as, hey, I still respect you. Hey, there's a silver lining here. We're still friends, or we're still, you know, close siblings, things like that, whatever the relationship is to you. But I'm just going to take this different route based on my passion, of what I feel passionate about, what my gut says, okay? And just remind them, like, hey, silver lining, you know, maybe even make a little bit of a fun thing out of it. Make a bet. Hey, let's do a bet. Make it a game a little bit more. I'll do it my way. If I win, I'll take you out for a drink. If you win, you take me out, or vice versa, you know what I mean? Whoever loses pays for the other's drink, or something like that, or take them out to lunch or something like that. Make it more fun, make it more lighthearted is what I'm hearing. And then that's what your higher self is saying will help you avoid the conflict, because literally the 5 of Swords reversed is avoiding a harsh conflict, okay? Avoiding, also too, I hear it's like avoiding that, triggering a little bit of that that know-it-all mentality on the other person's end. Like, I think if you make it more fun and you make it more about, like, this is what I'm passionate about, they won't see it so much as a rejection of them. They'll see it more as just, you know, you following your heart more. That's another good way of putting it. Follow your heart more with this, pile 1, okay? And emphasize that is what I'm hearing. Let's see, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything before we sign off with your reading today. So just, you know, summarizing everything today, pile 1, your key to something you need seems to have been advice on whether or not you should take someone else's advice or direction. And the answer from your higher self is, that might lead to disaster. Whatever your gut feeling is about what would lead to disaster is right. So you are correct in this situation is what I'm hearing. Although, like I said, I think the person has good intentions. It maybe worked for them. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. And just emphasize, you know, hey, I'm passionate about taking this direction. Hey, let's be lighthearted about this. We don't need to fight about this. It's not a rejection of you. It's just me taking the path that I feel is best for me, okay? Coming across respectfully, which I'm sure you'll do, pile 1, but that should help minimize things. Although I am saying with the 5 of Cups there, maybe a little bit sad at first, but like I said, that's their responsibility to manage their own emotions. As long as you know on your end that you did the best that you could to word things very respectfully, that's handing it off to them for it to be their job then to be mature about it and say, okay, I see what you mean. I know it's not a rejection of me as a person. You do what you want to do. It's your life. It's your decision. And I'll support you in that. And that's how the mature way of going about that would go, right? So yes, I do see them as loyal to you. I do see them as meaning well. Even if it's maybe not the best advice for you specifically. Okay, so use your discernment like the Mothman says. And you have seemed to have discerned well here, pile 1, is what they're telling you. Your gut instinct is right. It will not lead to victory. It will lead to a tower moment. So to avoid that, go with your gut instinct. That's what your higher self is saying. So, as always, pile 1, I hope that reading was helpful for you. If you liked it and if it did resonate, please like and comment and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. That just helps me out a little bit, which helps me provide more readings for both you and others in the future. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, Pile 1. Hello there, my lovely Pile number 2. Welcome today to your Pick a Card reading. That is a message from your higher self on a key to something you need. And as you recall, the pile leader you were drawn to was the Hare. And this particular card in the deck that it's from is all about the keyword of vitality, okay? Because not only do we associate rabbits and hares with spring, more specifically, of course, we think of the Easter Bunny, right? Which is associated with life regrowing after a time of darkness and death, rebirth of the season of the year, things growing, things springing back. But we also associate the hare or rabbits with agility because they run very fast. They have to because they're prey animals, right? They have to avoid getting, eaten by predators, of course. And so this card specifically is about being healthy, being agile both in body and mind, okay? Things like that. So I almost wonder if you're wondering about a certain setback that you've had recently in your life where it's either something to do with your mental or emotional state or your physical state. I don't know if maybe you've had a health problem recently or you've been kind of emotionally down, something along those lines. So it seems like that's what your higher self is trying to reach you about today, trying to give you advice to open the door away from whatever this lower vitality has been. Could also be spiritual energy too. Maybe your spirit's been kind of dampened lately. Maybe you've been disheartened by something is another thing I'm hearing. A little bit sad. You were really, really exuberant about something and then your excitement for it died, or your health has just not been as great. So let's get some more advice from your higher self on that. Thank you, higher self. Okay, that was quick. I didn't even get to shuffle everything. Okay, so we have from the Soul Mirror, awareness, with the keywords of foolish versus conscious. So being aware of something, paying attention to things. Yeah, I almost wonder, Pile 2, if I'm going to tap in intuitively here for a moment. I feel like it's something that you might not even recognize. You might not even know. And I don't want to give anyone a health scare, of course. I think, if it's physical health, you probably already have seen signs of it, Pile 2. But I think there's something about whatever it is that's affecting you in a way that you're not realizing quite yet. Let's clean some more details with the other cards. Maybe you're not even aware that your exuberance for something is kind of fallen. I feel a feeling of going through the motions too. And then from the Lantern Oracle, inner integration. Interesting. I'll read this. It says, there is peace, equilibrium, and fulfillment in integrating the inner wild with the taming and tempering effect that life has on us. Okay, so this card is very interesting because I often read it either as a generation card, because it's a granddaughter, daughter, grandmother, great-grandmother type thing. It can also be interpreted as different stages of life. We have, the maiden, the mother, kind of the crone with both of these at the end here, the older female figures, right? And so it could be something related to aging, Pile 2. And it's you've had to deal with this health problem recently because it kind of crept on you because of age. It could also be something that was inherited down. I know a lot of times diseases are passed down, and it's something maybe a parent or a grandparent of yours had to deal with, I think, like I said, if it's a physical health issue, Pile 2, you're already aware of it, but there's something about it that you're not quite recognizing yet. And your higher self is telling me right now that part of your realization of a way that it's affecting you that you haven't realized yet is you thinking to how, especially for those of you that this is a genetic thing, it happened in your family line, someone that was older than you also had it. Be it a physical ailment, say, a disease of some sort, or it could also be obviously a mental thing. I know sometimes depression can be genetic, things like that. Anxiety, other mental or emotional things. think about the way that it affected your people in your family and older generations that you recognize in them, and extrapolate that to how it might be affecting you in ways that you're not quite expecting or not aware of. Okay. Something about that they're telling me with your higher self. And then we have, last but not least, I'm using a lot of Gravity Falls cards today. And if you're not sure what Gravity Falls is, just know we're going to be using kind of a lot of cartoony decks today, both the tarot deck and I have this oracle deck. So higher self, once again, can you give us more details on this awareness thing? Okay, I believe that's 3 that just popped out here. What's going on? We have windy, strong, sharp wit, resourceful. Think of kind of a survivor with that card. We have rip-offs, which is, they're actually band-aids, right? Once again, I think of health. Short-term needs work, or being rash-free. Well, that's more of a joke from the media that this is from. But yeah, short-term needs work, band-aid solutions. Okay. It's like there's something about it that could be fixed long term, but it's like right now I feel like you're going towards a short-term solution to whatever this is because of the band-aid solution, right? Short-term needs work. And then we have the balloon with if you haven't seen the show, this is going to be weird because it says I eat kids, but ignore that for a second. Misplaced efforts and memorable. Yeah, misplaced efforts. It's like you're tackling this vitality related matter in a way that's like a band-aid solution. It's not the best way to fix it. And yeah, misplaced efforts. It's like there's something else you need to focus on. Your higher self is saying, okay. And that's where awareness comes in. It's like, yeah, they want you to be aware of, like, wait, you're focusing your energy over on this aspect of it, but really, you'd be better off if you focused on this other part of it. Okay, does that kind of make sense, pile 2? Let's grab your tarot cards, too, at this point. So, Spirit, higher self coming in for pile 2 today. Oopsie. I'm trying to get a handle on this deck. Could you please guide us to the right cards, 5 cards from the inciting incident to outcome? What's going on with this? Can you tell me more? Especially that band-aid that came up, because I was like, I think there's like a health-related thing. So I hear band-aids come up, of course. And then, well, this one really was popping out, so I'll take it. So number 1, we have the Page of Swords or Axes reversed. Okay, so the Page of Swords reversed is, yeah, it's like there's something about the mental aspect of the way that you're thinking about it that is not, it's like you're not exploring the direction you need to be with this. Because the Swords suit, especially the Page of Swords, is like the apprentice or like an explorer of the mind in some way. It could also mean, too, pile 2, especially if this is like a health, like physical health related thing. The Page of Swords reversed can also be someone that's not communicating effectively. So I almost wonder, like, if you haven't been finding the solutions that you need towards like a health related problem, I almost wonder if it's like either talking to like a different doctor about it, or it's like talking about to your doctor in a different way. Like your current doctor might help you realize what this is, or like the part that you're not realizing quite yet. And then we have the 2 of Pentacles. Okay, we have someone balancing something. Once again, if you haven't seen Gravity Falls, this card looks just really freaking weird, so just ignore it. But yeah, the 2 of Pentacles is about balancing and juggling things. Yeah, I think, too, there might be a lot of things kind of taking your attention away from it because it's just like so much going on at once. And then we have the 5 of Pentacles, yeah, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, like a hardship of some sort. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's been a lot of, I'm so sorry, pile 2. I feel like there's been a lot of hardship going on because of this card being the heart of the matter card, I call it. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles reversed. There's like a lack of opportunity in the material world. Like, it's like the universe just is not throwing you a bone with this, especially when it comes to the material. And then we have the Trickster, number 13, which is actually it's the Death card. That's right. Took me a second. It's actually Death reversed, okay, which is not leading to the change. Yeah, a lack of change. Yep. So it's, yeah, so pile 2, what I'm hearing is that you something to do with your health in some way, your vitality. Like I said, could be physical, could be mental, could be emotional, something along those lines, likely something that happened generationally. Okay, or it could also be this card. It means it popped up earlier in your life and then it went away for reasons that you're not quite sure, and then it came back again, or like it came back worse. You know, like I said, either it be mental or physical or emotional. And they want you to pay attention specifically to maybe why it went away in the first place, or if this is a generational thing, something with the way that someone in your family dealt with it before you, whatever this might be, okay? And they're saying more specifically from your higher self that you are tackling it in a way that's not really a long-term solution. It seems like there's more just kind of a short-term Band-Aid on top of it. And they're trying to guide you to the right direction to fix it and bring this to your awareness so that you can tackle this better, or like you're able to kind of get to a better state of vitality. Okay. Specifically your windy card here, I think of someone who's like a survivor, like it says strong, sharp, wit, resourceful. Your higher self is really commending you for the way that you've dealt with this. It's not been easy. I can already tell you that, pile 2, because like I said, the heart of the matter is the 5 of Pentacles, which is hardship. This has not been easy street with sunshine and rainbows. Like 100% get that, pile 2. And your higher self is also acknowledging that. And it's not your fault necessarily. Like, I'm not hearing your higher self saying anything about like, you know, oh, it's your fault that you didn't, you know, this isn't fixed, or like it's your fault that, like, they're not saying that, you know, like you in any way could have known to look in this area before, but now your higher self is trying to bring this to your awareness. Hey, this will lead to the change that you're seeking. And we will ask more about that. Because right now on the path you're on, it's not leading to change, with death reversed as the outcome card, okay? Because there's something to do with either the way that you're communicating or the way that you're thinking about tackling the problem, okay? Either to, you know, any professionals involved. Maybe it's like there's a little bit of a mistranslation. Things get lost in translation, things like that. Maybe like, or maybe you have a doctor that's like not listening to you, which I've heard horror stories about doctors not listening to people before. I've had that myself as well. Unfortunately, that's just not every doctor is the best doctor in the world. Or it could also be something on your end where you're not like communicating something quite right to them, okay? And it's stressful. You're sitting there like this, whatever creature being this is. Once again, it's Gravity Falls. It's weird, but it's the 2 of Pentacles, which is about balancing. You're like sweating. You're like, I'm juggling all these things, and I'm having a hard time with the 5 of Pentacles being the heart of the matter. And it's like, I don't have the opportunity for changing this. It's like, I don't know what route to take to fix this and make this a long-term solution instead of just a Band-Aid solution. Okay, so that's what we're going to ask next for you, pile 2, from your higher self. And this will be actually like the key of the reading, the key of something you need, right? What would lead to change? Okay. What would turn that death card right side up into change to help fix this vitality issue? So higher self of pile 2, could you please provide us 3 cards of advice on what would make this a long-term solution to fix it? What would lead to a positive change? Thank you. What are they not aware of that they need to be aware of, I think is another part of it. Okay, so that one for sure wanted to come out like these 2. I'm going to take them, and then I'm going to take this one right here. Okay. I think one was the unicorn one, if I'm not mistaken. So we have the Lovers. Okay, so the Lovers can sometimes more traditionally mean a choice. It can also mean like an actual romantic partnership, right? Or at least a working, deep, close connection relationship, like working in harmony is a good keyword. And then, yep, here's the unicorn one. We have the 6 of Pentacles. Okay, 6 of Pentacles is all about equal distribution, equal fairness, equal charity. All right. And then the last card is the 10 of Swords reversed. Okay. 10 of Swords reversed can mean picking up after a setback or after a betrayal of some sort. It can also mean like picking up after what we thought was the end, like we're not finished yet. So pile 2, in terms of advice on what needs to be in your awareness, what's the key, what's the long-term solution? Let's read this for let's see, like health and vitality. One moment. I'm also going to just take a drink for my voice. I apologize. My voice is quite scratchy this wintry time of year. The first thing that's really popping forward, pile 2, is they're saying that you need to ask for people to be more fair to you. You need to be more fair to yourself, and other people need to be more fair to you. And unfortunately, I think that might be require you to demand more fairness, especially for those of you who might be in a situation where, say, like a medical professional is not listening. Sometimes that means finding someone that you're more in tune with, you're more in harmony with the lovers, okay? So that might mean, so more specifically, like finding a doctor that does listen to you if this is, say, like a physical health problem, or maybe you are seeing like a therapist for something and you're just not making progress with like a mental health related thing. Once again, that might mean finding a different therapist that is in harmony with you in the way that like the lovers kind of speak, which I mean, I know it sounds like romantic love with the lovers, right? But it doesn't always mean that. It can just mean like a good harmonic connection. Find a connection somewhere here that is more fair to you. Okay, gives you more of their time, gives you more of their energy and their effort. Okay. Same thing too, if this is more of a question of like, maybe you're trying different things to fix whatever this particular issue is. That can mean instead of tackling it like one way at a time, try to give an equal distribution of attention to different solutions at once. Like, for example, sometimes people, to fix something, they might just have to take like one type of medicine. But what would be even better is, say you take that type of medicine and then you also try like some sort of other method at the same time to try to solve it. Like, so for example, I'll just use like depression as an example. Just might not apply to every one of you, but say like, someone might give you, a psychiatrist might give you a medication to help fix this depression, right? But sometimes it can also help to try to get, say, exercise, sunlight with vitamin D, look into your hormone levels. Sometimes hormones are really, especially with women, though I think with men too, right? Hormones can really highly affect your emotional state in ways that we just don't really always recognize enough, okay? So maybe look into getting your hormones tested. Also look into situational things that are making you depressed as well. What could you be doing to tackle this problem from all different angles instead of just one, okay? And once again, to, be more fair to yourself, pile 2. I think maybe you're a little bit too hard on yourself when it comes to this, especially if you have been lacking progress. You might be blaming yourself, like, why can't I just fix this? Why can't this just be healed? Why can't I move on and just, have this be over? And you're like blaming yourself maybe a little bit. Your higher self is saying, be more fair to yourself, pile 2. It's not your fault, okay? Sometimes things just take a little bit more time to heal, or they take, tackling a problem from different angles all at once, okay? They're almost showing me like you besieging a city, right? And sieging a city in like warfare terminology is completely circling a city, right? And that's like you circling this problem so that it has absolutely no way to try to break out and try to keep continuing giving you issues. Tackle it from every single angle. Give it no quarry. Give it no ability to escape, okay? And then we have, yes, the Ten of Swords reversed at the end. So they're saying that, I almost would read this as, it might not be an immediate end to the problem. It might be something that you kind of have to keep tackling over time, which I know sometimes that happens with like health related things, either physical or emotional, of course, or mental. But as long as you tackle it from this perspective, it'll help you move on what you thought was, I'm just going to have to deal with this being as bad as it is the rest of my life, okay? It's going to help you overcome what you thought was, because more specifically, the traditional depiction of the Ten of Swords is someone laying down with a bunch of swords in their back. Like, they look like they're completely at the end, and they're like, I'm just going to be down here, and I'm just going to be suffering, and this is the finality of it to me. Like, this is my lot in life. But reversed, it's almost telling me that, like, there's things you can do to make it better so you don't feel that way all the time, okay? Following this advice of working with people that are more in harmony with you, that are more fair to you, be more fair to yourself, and tackle the problem from different angles, okay? And I think that's also where that generational aspect comes in, pile 2, because I think there might be something about, like I was saying, like that a family member might have suffered with this as well. And there was something about the way that they tackled it or that they handled it, or maybe it could also be like the way that maybe they didn't handle it. That's a piece of advice to you, a little bit of a waypost on the crossroads that you're at here with this conundrum of like letting you know, like maybe there was like a natural remedy that they tried that worked, you know, or maybe they coped with it in some sort of way that helped them like remain healthier than they would have been had they not coped with it that way, okay? Things like that. Or maybe they did something that was made it worse, and so it's like advice for you to avoid what they did with it, okay? Things like that. So look to generational examples, okay? If this is something that runs in your family, right? And then they're saying, your higher self, that should help you bring back a little bit of your vitality, like we were talking about with your pile leader that you were drawn to. A little bit of your quickness, your agility, your health, things like that. And two, like I said, the rabbit is often associated with rebirth because it's associated with spring, okay? Like with Easter, like the Easter bunny, like I said. And so it's almost like this will usher in kind of a rebirth of you where you don't feel as low or as bad as you did before you started tackling it in this way that their higher self is trying to give you advice on, okay? So think of it as working towards a rebirth of self. To being more strong. To a more long-term solution rather than a short-term fix, okay? Look for long-term rather than Band-Aids is what they're saying. Okay, and that will lead to the change that you're seeking that right now you're not getting the change. Things like that, okay? But of course, you know, I always say with tarot readings where health does come up, you know, please trust your health professionals more than anything. But this is at least what I'm hearing from your higher self on some advice with this. Especially when it comes to, you know, physical and mental health. I want to be careful in the way that I portray answers from tarot readings. But yes, you know, like I always say in my descriptions, you're the best guiding star of your own life, you know, of course, in tandem with other people that are experts in these things. But try to kind of think of it from this aspect pile too, or this particular point of view. And I think that will help you, okay? So, I hope you liked the reading, and I hope it resonated, pile 2. If you did like it, and if it did resonate, please like and comment and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. That just helps me out a little bit, which helps me provide more readings for both you and others in the future. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I wish you much recovery and more health and happiness in the future. And sorry, I got interrupted by a really loud motorcycle in my neighborhood. You probably heard that on camera. Whew. Someone's running a really loud motorcycle today. Yes, wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading, pile 2. Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 3. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about a message from your higher self on the key to something you need. As you recall, the pile leader you were drawn to was the Linden tree. And more specifically, this particular Linden tree from this deck represents the keyword of fidelity. Okay, so we think of being true, being honest, having integrity, being true to yourself more specifically, and staying true to others as well. And sometimes this can also mean like in a way of not catering to peer pressure from those around you and just being honest about your intentions, honest about what you desire, and honest about who you really are deep down inside. Okay, so I think your reading today has to do with something along those lines of being honest or being true to yourself. But of course, we'll glean more details with your other cards. I'll set your pile leader to the left as we usually do. Higher self of pile 3 today, could you please guide us to the right cards that explains more about what you want to tell us for them? What is the key to something they need? Thank you. Okay, that's the one that wanted to pop out, I can tell. So this card is teaching, with the keyword of withheld versus giving. Teaching, withheld versus giving. Very interestingly, we have a figure that's almost kind of growing into a tree here. Which you did have a tree for your pile leader as well. And trees make me think of family. They make me think of growth. Let's see what else pops out there. Withheld versus given. We also have the Lantern Oracle today. You know, pile 3. I almost wonder... I'm kind of drawn to this one and also this one. Let's see, 1 or 2. 1, okay. We have Metamorphosis. Actually, I'm going to draw this card too because I was also drawn... Oh, interesting. Pile 2 also got this one. So we have 2 Lantern Oracles today. I was kind of caught between both. Number 1, we have 11. Metamorphosis. Power and strength lie within our surrender to change. And then we also have number 40, Integration. There is peace, equilibrium, and fulfillment in integrating the inner wild with the taming and tempering effect that life has on us. Now, sometimes I read this as a generational card. Sometimes I read it as a different phases of your own life card. And specifically for you, pile 3, I'm hearing this as more of a message about different phases of your life. Connecting that to what we already talked about. I'm getting the feeling that there's something about yourself that you're afraid to be honest with others, or it's like you're afraid to give parts of yourself to others. I think because it's almost what I'm hearing is like you have had bad experiences in the past when it comes to being honest with others or like true to yourself. I almost get like a rejection sensitivity here, like people have rejected you a lot. It could be in terms of romantic relationships, or it could just be in general, like people just have not been very nice to you, pile 3, when it comes to you saying, this is who I am. And so I too, especially because of the Soul Mirror Oracle you got here with teaching, withheld versus giving, I'm drawn to the way that she's almost kind of like blending in with the tree. It's like you trying to blend in with others. I don't want to say like you're catering to peer pressure, although that is kind of one of the messages of the Linden tree that you were drawn to. It's not so much you being like, I want to fit in. It's almost a sense of your higher self saying, you feeling like, I don't want to get rejected again. Okay. And I'm getting the sense of whatever the issue is regarding this. Maybe you're finding that like you feel almost dishonest because you feel like you can't be true with other people. Maybe that's the issue at hand. Or maybe you're finding like you're having a hard time making new friends or like new romantic relationships because of this sensitivity or fear of rejection. Whatever the issue is, pile 3, it's like your higher self is saying in the end, they want you to be more honest and true to yourself, okay? They want you to, okay. They want you to, is this S3? Okay, so we'll take those 3. They want you to throw away that fear of rejection. Now, that is easier said than done, of course. But got a lot of shared cards in our readings today. So we have Greasy's Diner, Retro Sustenance Repurposed. Very interesting. And if you're not familiar with this deck, we're using a lot of Gravity Falls decks today. And if you don't know what that is, just know we're going to have kind of some cartoony decks. We have, let's see, the balloon. I realize anyone that hasn't watched Gravity Falls is going to be like, this balloon says, I eat kids, and that's really weird. Just know that it's from the show if you're not familiar with it. Misplaced efforts and memorable. And then we have the clone tube, stasis, repetition, forced growth. And interestingly enough, pile 3, in the context of Gravity Falls, these clone tubes were literally made to like clone a boy band. That's kind of what the joke was, because we always think of boy bands as a group of people that are kind of all the same, and they all kind of, they're like a clone of each other. Okay, we see that sometimes with like at least like there was like the boy band popularity back in like the early 2000s, and I know like there's a lot of like modern K-pop boy bands today. So once again, I feel that like peer pressure thing popping up again for you with the clone tube. Stasis, repetition, forced growth. It's almost like you feeling like I have to hide who I am so that I don't get rejected. And I think because of the diner card, it's like something that's occurred throughout your life. Like you've always kind of had to feel like you couldn't be honest about what you really think deep down with others. But they're saying it's like misplaced efforts. Okay. Like it's not really you. Because what I'm hearing is it's almost like if you make friends, pile 3, with an unreal version of yourself, are people really friends with you, or are they friends with the version of you that they think that you are? Is what your higher self is asking you to ask yourself. Okay. Because there's something really beautiful about who you really are deep down, pile 3, that you're not recognizing, that you're denying the world. Okay. And you might think of it as, oh, I'm hiding something away that people have told me in the past that they don't like. Maybe because of the things that maybe led to the sensitivity to rejection or a fear of rejection. But what your higher self is actually saying, pile 3, is there's a part of you that you're not sharing, or maybe the whole of you, depending on who you are, that really does have something to offer the world that would really help other people out. Like, they're almost showing me, and this might sound kind of cliche, pile 3, but they're showing it to me as, like, you being, like, a north star in the sky, like a really bright star, like we think of, like, Polaris. Well, Polaris actually really isn't bright. Sirius is technically, like, the brightest star in the sky, right? The dog star in, I think it's Canis Major. Sirius being a very, very bright star. Someone who stands out. Someone who, lets their light shine very brightly instead of hiding it back to blend in with all the other stars or the background of, like, the night sky. Okay. They want you to shine more brightly. They want you to share more of yourself instead of being withheld. They want you to give more to other people in terms of showing your true light and your true self. Okay. Let's grab some tarot cards too to glean more information. 5 cards, please. Higher self of pile 3. So very interesting. You know, the other piles today had a lot more, like, you know, like tangible, direct, you know, situational type things. And you have like a more overall, like personality or, like maybe even a life lesson related thing I'm hearing. You know what's interesting, pile 3? Not only did you get a 3, right? The clone tube, this is literally the characters that are cloned. I was just talking about the boy band, right? So you got that. That's another synchronicity. Okay, so we have the 3 of Cups reversed, which is bad social situations, rejection from a group, like I was just talking about. I remember I was like, I feel like maybe you've had bad experiences with people in the past, like rejections, and it kind of like conditioned you to think like, oh, I can't share things about myself. I need to be a clone of other people, or I need to like copy other people in a way. This is literally, this card is the inciting incident. I call the first card of rejection from a social group, okay, or a bad social event, bad social groups, things like that. And what this is also telling me, though, pile 3, is that you might think of if it was like an inherent flaw within you that made people reject you. What I'm hearing is that there was something wrong with the people that rejected you, okay, because it was like there was something about your light shining that they couldn't, they're telling me, your higher self, is like there's something very intimidating about someone who is not afraid to shine brightly. A lot of people in our world, pile 3, don't have that confidence to be themselves. I mean, because think about how many things we do out of peer pressure, pile 3. How often do we buy a piece of clothing because we think, oh, that's the in thing to buy, right? Or how often do we take our life down a certain path because we think, well, that's the path that society thinks is success, quote unquote, right? You know, making quote marks, right? And so it's almost like when people step out of that tradition, when they step out of that peer pressure of that, you know, doing and saying the right, quote unquote, right things, okay, or being the right thing, it makes other people uncomfortable, but it's not necessarily because of a flaw on your end, pile 3, at all. Really what it is people wrestling with their own insecurity about how they fit in, projecting it upon you, is what I'm hearing your higher self say, okay? It's very interesting. Yeah, we have the moon reversed here as the second card. The moon reversed is about like illusions shattered. Realizing that something is just an illusion. You know, pile 3, I almost wonder, it almost seems like there's a sort of fight between you wanting to be very, having that fidelity we talked about with the Linden, being honest with yourself and honest with others about who you are. And then a fight between that and you wanting, like, social acceptance. We have, the devil reversed. Okay, the devil reversed. It's upright. The devil upright is your heart of the matter. And we do have a lot of major arcana popping out here with the moon and the devil card. Actually, let me pull your other cards before I say for sure. But I do have a feeling that this is like an overall life lesson related thing your higher self is helping you with, pile 3. We have the 9 of Pentacles, and then we have the 9 of Cups. Very interesting. 2 nines. Okay. Emotional and financial satisfaction. Okay. So pile 3. What your higher self is telling us right now is, well, what we were already saying about the way that when you are honest about who you are with other people, and this happens to a lot of people, right? It's not just you specifically. Instead of catering to the whims and the peer pressure of the masses, right? It can make you unpopular, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're wrong or that there's something inherently wrong with you. Okay, and you might already know that, pile 3. I think maybe along your spiritual development path, I'm getting the sense that you probably already kind of recognize that. You already know, okay, well, yeah, the world doesn't like people that don't fit in the mold, okay, just because that's how humans work. We all know this, right? Humans like tribes. When you don't fit into the tribe, you feel kind of outcast, right? That's just how it goes. You might even be a starseed, pile 3. I'm getting kind of a starseed sense off of this as well. Maybe that's where the Sirius metaphor came in earlier. Maybe Syrian starseed. Anyways, so long story short, what they're saying is, though, your higher self is especially with the devil as the main heart of the matter, it's like you know in which the way other people are enslaved to group thinking, to groupthink. Because the devil is the things that hold us back. The devil is the things that chain us. Okay? Literally, like, it's 2 figures down here that are in bubbles. They're in their own bubbles. They don't understand what's outside of the bubble, okay? And you seem to be the person who does, pile 3. You see beyond the bubble. You see beyond the trappings of what groupthink it, like whatever particular groups you're in. You see beyond the groupthink of it. Okay, even society at large sometimes. It's a pretty big bubble society sits in at times, right? Okay. And so you being this illusion breaker, it's hard for you to fit in. It's hard for you to I'm sure, like I said, like maybe you've been rejected a lot and it's hurt you. And so you're afraid to share more of yourself. But your higher self is saying, please, 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 pile 3, please share more of yourself. Be more of your honest self. Share more of your honest thoughts. You know why? Why I'm saying this? Because here at the end, after the heart of the matter, you have the near future and the outcome. You have both the 9 of Pentacles and you have the 9 of Cups. So the 9 of Pentacles is all about satisfaction in the material world, okay? So the fruits of our labor, the things that we have done will lead to fruitfulness in the material world, okay? And then the outcome is emotional satisfaction, right? Almost kind of, sometimes it's the smug card, being a little smug. But I read it more as you being very, very satisfied with your heart and your emotions. And so, depending on where you are at in your path, pile 3, whether you're at the point of still feeling that peer pressure and trying to fit in more and hiding who you truly are, or if you're already farther along and you know, you're not hiding yourself anymore, but you're coming into conflict with people sometimes, or you feel kind of lonely because, maybe like other people are afraid of that bright light shining, is the way that your higher self keeps putting it to me, right? Keep going the way that you're going towards being more honest and true to yourself and who you are, because it will lead to that emotional satisfaction there at the end, okay? So don't doubt yourself, pile 3. Don't doubt who that person is deep down. Don't be a clone, okay? Don't be a clone in a boy band, right? Keep unveiling the illusion. Because there's something about who that person you are is deep down that will resonate with other people. And I think that's kind of how I'm interpreting the 9 of Pentacles here. I would traditionally interpret that more as like success with finances and career, because that's usually what Pentacles are all about. But what I am hearing with this specific reading is this is more success in the material world in terms of, well, it actually could be your career, your finances, pile 3. there's something I'm hearing about who you are deep down that could lead to success in your career if you were more honest in your career about who that is, okay? So that might be more, going to a career that's more aligned with what really makes your soul sing, who you are deep down, right? It could also mean like at the job that you're in, if that's already something that aligns with your soul, doing more in that path that is shining your light, your unique frequency, as we like to call it in the spiritual community, out more, okay? That will lead to more financial success. But I do see, I was kind of reading this more outside of financial and career success as well, like I was saying earlier, as you being successful in the material world in terms of like comfort with others, okay? And so more security with others, more, doesn't necessarily mean more friendships, right? Because that's not how we would read the Pentacles. But it will lead to a sort of happiness that you would not have had you hid who you are more, is what I'm hearing. I do want to draw some extra cards here in terms of advice, because you're actually, pile 3, what your higher self is saying is you're on the right path right now. Keep going. And that's actually kind of a good card or a reading to give to people. I love giving readings where I can kind of be like, keep doing what you're doing. Your higher self likes it. In fact, you're the only pile today that really is, I'm not knocking the other piles, but that you're like their higher selves didn't have, they had more like, hey, nudge more in this direction, right? A little bit more. And you seem to be pile 3 a little bit more along the lines of keep doing you, okay? Do you, okay? But I will grab some advice cards here from your higher self. Higher self of pile 3, could you give us 3 cards of advice just to tie off the reading with them? What advice would you give them more? Okay. We have number 1, the 6, 7, 7 of Pentacles. Okay, sowing seeds for the future. And then we have the 2 of Swords, making a choice. And we have the Sun reversed. Okay, so what that tells me, pile 3, is your advice going forward with this situation about being more true to who you are. Follow your happiness. I'm getting the sense right now, because of the Sun reversed, that there's some choices that you're making that are not leading to a happiness. I think you maybe still at that point of kind of dampening your light down a bit to fit in more, okay? They're saying, well, and literally, like, the sun is light. I just realized that, duh. Okay? Push your light out more, okay? Be that sun upright. Shine that truth more, because the sun can also represent truth in tarot. Right now, it seems to be like, there's a little bit of truth maybe you're hiding back. Don't hold it back. Let it go. Let it shine. Be as bright as the sun. If it makes people uncomfortable, that's their problem to deal with, okay? Be you. Be honest, okay? And 2, we have the 2 of Swords, meaning a choice, next to, planting seeds for the future with the 7 of Pentacles, okay? So keep planting seeds every single day. Keep making the choice to plant seeds every single day, pile 3, towards more of shining that light of who you are, okay? Keep going. And right now, you might not be seeing the fruits of it. I think that's why the 7 of Pentacles came out, because it's like your higher self saying, I know you're not really seeing the results yet. And so it's kind of hard to feel like you're doing the right thing, or kind of like it's hard to feel like you're on the right path, because it's like, this isn't really, I'm not seeing good results from this. I feel like, especially in the past, if you've been rejected a lot, that can feel like, well, I don't know, is that really a good path to go down? You might have like those kinds of doubts, right, pile 3? But they're saying, just keep planting the seeds, even though you haven't seen the seedlings yet. You haven't seen the plant grow from these, metaphorically speaking. Okay, keep making that choice every single day. Whenever a choice comes up, and I almost see this as a life lesson related thing, pile 3. I think this is a major life lesson in your soul contract, is what I'm hearing, is to always be presented with the choice to be true to self or to hide your true self. And every single time you choose to shine your light, that's planting the seeds for a better future, a better outcome towards that 9 of Cups we were talking about, with that emotional satisfaction in the end. Okay, so reject being a clone, reject fitting in, reject dampening your light. Choose you. is kind of a summary of what your higher self is saying here. Choose who you are, okay? Choose, right? So I will leave you that for your reading today. If you liked the reading and if it resonated, please like and comment and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. That just helps me out a little bit, which helps me provide more readings for both you and others in the future. And as is our tradition on the channel, Pile 3, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, of a lot of more either authenticity or the bravery to keep being authentic you, okay? No matter whether or not it bothers other people, because like I said, it's a them problem, not a you problem, Pile 3. And I hope to see you in the next reading.